why I'm confused. Okay guys, sorry about that. I thought we were having some difficulties with the stream. But it looks like everything should be okay now. See Jim computer searching. I'm actually not sure what was in his hand because of the other stuff I was dealing with. But he's probably going to be either looking for a supporter or an energy off of this, maybe an EV. Maybe the silver bangle. Looks like he wants an energy. Do you know how many Pokemon are in Jim's discard?
I wasn't able to count because we were messing with it as well. But he got a hot start, but he looks like he missed the Archie by one and had the Juniper tournament with the Jirachi.
Okay. Okay.
He did get 2 EVs.
And there's the Archie.
Oh, Dino's just been sitting there the whole time. There it is.
And he gets that Empoleon, he gets his 5 cards here.
Nice.
Should definitely help him a lot. Hits a silver bangle off of it.
13.
Thank you, Igor. He has 12 now since he got that Empoleon back out.
Yeah.
Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, 13, 14.
Okay.
That must have been before the Ultra Ball that he played, that he had 13. He's still a little short right here. But he's got that Battle Compressor, so he's going to be able to get a knockout here.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Confused as to why he wouldn't play a Battle Compressor to get that knockout.
There's 14 just 15, 16, 17.
This is Jim's list.
He's 25.
4, 5, 11, 12. 17, 20. Yep. 25, you have 14 in his discard pile, and we see
There's no EV now.
2, 3, 4. He has a Ditto, though.
Yeah.
So that is a functional EV.
Yes.
Here, do you want this back on? Okay. Yeah, I'm just really not sure why he wouldn't do that.
I can't really see a situation where he can't discard 3 of those 5 Pokemon unless
Right.
his prizes are just
Right.
horrible.
And now he's going to use the Battle Compressor, but I
Okay.
just don't know why he didn't do it last
Let's see
time.
what's in his deck.
That would explain it.
Press the
He
trump.
has
There was not
no
a single Pokemon in there.
Goodness, those are some bad
You're telling
prizes.
me 5 of his prizes are Pokemon. That's just really unfortunate. And there's the trump card.
So Jim makes the right move. He uses the propagation before he uses the trump card, knowing that he'll be able to use Diving Draw to discard it again afterwards.
Frustrating thing about that is without being able to get the one shot, then he's gonna have a hard time taking a prize.
Yeah.
He'll have to target Aromatisse most likely.
Well, I know I was talking to Grafton, I'm pretty sure, Grafton and Rollo yesterday, and they mentioned how these fairy decks are now playing experience share, which is making this matchup significantly more difficult than it was previously.
Definitely. It looks like he does have a one-off in there.
Yeah. And so their game plan is just to set up, ideally with a Xerneas, and get as many energies on the field as possible, knowing that Flareon decks often have a hard time KOing Mega Pokemon in one hit. Jim keeps a Silver Bangle off of that Acrobike. You see the Diving Draw discards the Execute. He draws another Silver Bangle. probably makes him wish he had kept that Ultra Ball.
So he's got a couple. Looks like he's got a Bangle, an Ultra Ball, a DCE. Ooh, he's gonna go for the hip bump play. This is always fun.
It's a strong move.
And Sebastian shakes his head a little bit.
I mean, depending on how Sebastian's hand looks, there's actually a chance that we could see a retreat here into a Florges.
That's true.
Use a Bright Garden to kill that Audino. Also get your Gardevoir out of harm's way.
Ultra Balling away a Bangle.
Well, they can't really afford to discard anything else in his hand except maybe the Deoxys, but he's probably going to keep that, thinking that he will have to attack with Leafeon at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to hit an odd number of damage because of that Deoxys is actually very important.
That's pretty helpful.
Yes, this is the same Audino that has been just living the dream all game. You'll see a Fairy Garden come down for Sebastian, so it's very likely that that floor display will happen this turn, assuming he can get another Pokemon. Actually, if you're in Sebastian's position here, I think he had a Lysander, you just Lysander up the Eevee, and then you definitely make that floor display. You don't risk the hit bump.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do.
But I guess he doesn't have access to another Pokemon. So in this situation, I'm not sure if I would go for the risky Lysander hip bump flip. I would actually probably retreat into the floor just and use lead to get a supporter.
I agree. I don't see a reason to play that Lysander.
Hand, though. So he is going to make the floor display.
He's going to bring up the Florges.
Because, oh, never mind. He doesn't need another Pokemon. I'm an idiot. Eevee has less than 80 HP.
Oh, yep. Okay, well, that play makes all the sense in the world now. And it looks like he does have a Computer Search in his hand as well. So.
Computer Search, and he does have an Ultra Ball, so he could have killed the Audino if he'd wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been a hard discard, though, with that.
Very small hand.
Well, yeah, he would have had to discard his Computer Search. In addition to, I don't recall what his last card was.
I believe it was a DCE. He'll end up discarding that Deoxys anyway.
Right.
He did get an Eevee off the draw.
See it transform into an Eevee, evolves into the Flareon. Florges will be significantly easier to KO here than Gardevoir would have been, but it's still going to take a lot out of Jim's deck, knowing that he only has, I believe, 3 Pokemon in his discard pile right now.
If he is able to get 2 prizes right here, then that would help him out significantly, getting some Pokemon out of the prizes.
And removing half of Sebastian's energy from the field.
Mm-hmm.
Sebastian actually wouldn't be able to return KO the Flareon next turn.
It would be a huge momentum shift if he can pull off this knockout.
Jim discards a 1/1 Raichu line and a Mr. Mime. Cards that probably won't be useful this game. Still a rough position for Jim though, because he's more than that. He's forced to use Hit Bump, and now Sebastian can just use that Computer Search to get a
down.
He can use the Computer Search to get a Lysander and KO that Flareon. It probably will lead to Jim scooping this game because he won't have much else he can do. I think it's interesting that Sebastian is so adamant about holding on to that double colorless.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he really needs it for. Yeah.
And there's the scoop.
Oops. So we see some unfortunate prizes there from Jim. Looked like he had at least one Eevee in there along with a few other Pokemon.
A really strong start for him too in that game, and just wasn't able to get a couple critical knockouts and lost because of it.
It's really these Mega Pokemon, especially the Mega Pokemon being playable now, it's just been harder and harder for Flareon to knock them out, considering you can only play so many Pokemon and have your deck still be consistent. And
as it is, it's playing more Pokemon than you'll see in anything else.
But having to discard 60% of your Pokemon and still being able to attack repeatedly, I mean, that's
particularly if
difficult.
Some of them are Eevees or Flareons.
Right, exactly.
Then you find yourself in an awkward position where you have the trump card to keep yourself going, and then now you're looking at trying to do 220 damage when trump carding yourself. It's really a pretty frustrating matchup, it seems like.
I can definitely see that. I mean, Sebastian's got a very consistent list. He's just got 4 Xerneas. He wants to get out there turn 1, use Geomancy, get 2 Fairy Energies on his field, and just build up a quick, large field of energy. He's got a thick Aromatisse line.
And then
He's got
just
a thick Gardevoir line.
Just to compound the problem of trump card against Flareon, he also gets to bring back all of his max potions.
Yep.
So
bring back
two-hitting,
max
it's never
potions
an
and bring
option.
back any Fairy Energies that have been discarded off of KO'd Pokemon, which are both things that Fairy decks, you know, generally they have trouble with it. They used to have trouble when they ran out of max potions, or if you lost energies off your Pokemon, you would have trouble coming back into games. But being able to recover resources like that now is definitely a big advantage. We see Jim starts with a Pikachu. I will assume that Sebastian has started with a Xerneas, considering he has 3 basics. And here we go. Yep, there's a Xerneas, a Gardevoir, and a Spritzee.
Draw water. That's not what he wanted to see. Looks like he did not draw very well.
Battle Compressor more than likely going to discard and execute Empoleon and probably Mr. Mime in this case.
Looks like he grabbed a Audino. There's a white card.
No, it's a
That's
Juniper, so he has a
Juniper
VS Seeker in his
Empoleon.
hand then.
Okay,
He's
well
looking for a
that'll
supporter this
draw
turn.
him something here.
Yeah, we'll see an energy on the Pikachu. Oh, he doesn't have a VS Seeker.
He's just hoping to draw into it.
That's an interesting discard then, because we know that Jim, along with Grafton and a bunch of other Flareon players, actually don't play a max count of Juniper here. So while he's giving himself more outs, he's also limiting his outs in a sense. Right now he has 6 outs as opposed to 3.
It's
So
an
he's
interesting decision.
directly doubled his odds, but
So it lowered the physical amount of...
Junipers, but he's increased his number of ways to draw into a Juniper effectively.
Overall, I think it's the right play.
Probably. I mean, he doesn't really have much going on. He has,
Yeah.
looks like an Archie and a bunch of dead cards in his hand. Computer's discarding a Fan Club and a Max Potion from Sebastian. He's more than likely not going to need that Fan Club this game. He's already got most of the basics he wants here.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Max Potion is good, but it's a card that you don't use too often against Flareon. A lot of times they will be knocking things out in one hit.
Especially with a weak start like Jim has, you can afford to dump one.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And he chooses to take a Sycamore, which forces him to discard an Aromatisse and a Mega Gardevoir, but he does this knowing that Jim didn't play a supporter. He doesn't want to give him a new hand.
Yeah, obviously N is off the table with a start like that.
Most definitely. And we see a fairly strong draw off of it. He's got a supporter for next turn. He draws additional basics, including another Spritzee and another Xerneas. He also has an Aromatisse despite discarding one. So he should be in a really good position here. See a quick Geomancy targets his Gardevoir and Xerneas. See that Sebastian has blinged out his deck. He has those hollow fairy energies from the Xerneas Evoltol collection. Still not much Jim can do here. And actually, he might just lose the game.
He needs to draw something quickly.
Yeah,
drew another battle compressor.
His only out here is to discard Execute and then Propagation.
He's gonna have to propagate.
It's already in his discard, so he just discard 3 Pokemon and then propagate the Execute back. But even then, that puts you severely behind your opponent.
Especially when you consider he's not going to get to drop an Eevee.
I think Sebastian at this point just is going to go for that Rainbow Spear next turn and kill this Pikachu. Well, Raichu. Actually, Jim will more than likely bench the Execute and retreat into it. Oh, he tries to paralyze the Xerneas. And that's a game.
That's going to be game. He has the guard.
Unfortunate game for Jim, but
really just a horrid draw.
So Sebastian takes that series 2-0. And based on what we saw from Jim both of those games, there wasn't much he could do in either of them. It was just a really weak hand in game 2, and in game 1 his prizes really hurt him.
Certainly not really much room for him to play out of any of those situations. It's unfortunate.
Exactly. So I believe actually next round we will be streaming the seniors finals instead of a top 4 game, but we will keep you updated with how the top 4 games are going, along with keeping you updated with how the current top 8 games are going. So sit tight and we will be back. Toad might be able to beat it, which is dumb, but Toad Ninetales could actually be good. Toad Ninetales or Silent Lab. You could play, there are all sorts of ways. Like, as much as there's like a bottleneck with the Rayquaza, I think that it opens up other options. Like, it eliminates a lot of things that are playable now, but it allows other things to be playable. So it's hard to say. I actually like.
You got a month to figure it out.
I like the new Magma Camera Up, the Camera Up DX too.
That's cool.
You just do like a billion damage every turn with blacksmiths and battle compressors and
The
stuff.
one that we discard
It pulls
energy.
fires and fightings back out of your discard pile. And then the Camera Up DX, yeah, you discard fires
Yeah, I
to do
played
50
it
each.
against it online.
So
It snuck up on me. I forgot it was gonna.
did they have the Magma Camera Up, or was this a while ago?
Yeah, it was that deck you're talking about, and it played clay dolls.
You don't need that.
They were moving it up to. They were moving the energies up because the camera brings it over and the clay dolls move.
The Clay Doll moves it from anybody to a Magma guy, so you actually can't move it to the EX. It's the opposite
they
of
were
how the old
playing the
one.
magma camera. They were playing the camera magma.
Yeah, you
EX?
should. There's no Magma
Oh
EX.
wait,
Like,
what's the
the
EX?
Groudon? There's
Oh,
a
the
Magma
Groudon. That's
Groudon.
That's what it was. I played the other deck too, but the one I'm thinking about with the clay dolls had the Groudon. And
The Camera Up deck.
I got a good start, and I was sitting there beating it online. All of a sudden, this thing just kept. I was like, "What's going on, man?" I kill it, take the energy, reload, kill me. And I was like, "Oh, shit, I gotta get going." And I think I lost.
I think
by a
Magma
prize.
decks actually have a lot of potential with the new stadium too. The Zangoose does like 30 or 20 for every Magma guy you have in play.
It's weird. They're a lot like the old Magma cards. Almost.
I think that's a set that's going to sneak up on people if they haven't tested it out at all, especially going to something as big as regionals. So yeah, maybe just a Magma Zangoose deck. It can kill Megas in one hit.
It does
I
30
think.
for what? For every.
I'll Google it real quick. But I'm pretty sure it does 30 for every Magma Pokemon you have. But I know the camera up thing is just you just get a bunch of camera ups out and you use blacksmiths and stuff and do like 250 every turn. Which that sounds pretty good to me. 250 on a non-mega Pokemon, that's pretty good.
That's the original. Yeah, they don't want that.
I mean, it's basically the same card.
Yes.
Just stronger. Sorry, it does 20. Oh, times the number of Magma guys on your bench.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not nearly as good. They can still kill non-mega guys. But
Yeah.
and they still have like the double energy that they can just drop, and then it gets discarded at the end of their turn.
Well, what other cards are coming out in the new set? Besides the Rayquaza?
There's some.
You can
So
come
that
over here.
Shaman that just thing has an engine, right? So it just, if
Well,
you get
Shaman-
that
Second they bought the stadium, you can just get on the bench if you have to.
Right. I mean, Shaman's legal for everybody to play. I mean, it's not like it's just this colorless deck, but it's best in that
there's
deck.
like that.
What? There's a supporter that gets 3 colorless Pokemon.
Yeah, so say
So
you're
you can
facing
go
a right,
grab-
you just grab Swablu Altaria, play it straight down, put a Shaman, and there's your draw.
There's a stage 2 Safeguarder.
Okay.
There's
Just as with the Lugia thing.
yeah, but it doesn't do any damage.
Is this a set that the double energy for Dragon comes
What
out?
is interesting about the Death Stars is you can get the double pies with bench pulls.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, is the Rayquaza Dragon?
No, it's colorless.
It's just colorless.
There is a dragon one too.
Which I actually think might be pretty good.
Someone said the
It
other
does like
Rayquaza
300
was pretty
damage.
good too. Yeah, that's
I think they're both decent, but it can't evolve turn 1, so it's not as good.
What's the
There's a way to accelerate it too with the Reshiram. It's basically got
how
the
many
Celebi
energy
ability.
for 300?
I think it's 4.
It's 5.
Is it?
It's 5. So you have to play well, you get the double dragon energy at least. And you can potentially pull off 2 extra energy. Switch games.
I hate when they separate.
Does it have a
this stuff.
Spirit Link?
It has a spirit link, but it can't evolve in the first turn.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
So, well, yeah, I know.
But that's the advantage. That's the advantage of the colorless ones. You can do it turn 1. Oh, they reprinted Wally's,
That's cool. I like that.
so you can Flareon on turn 1. That's interesting.
Wally's was just going out when I think we had it like one season in 2004.
Yeah, it is 5 enters. Oh my god.
Fire, lightning, colorless.
For 300.
Fire, lightning, color.
But
3 fires.
the
And you
alpha
discard
thing
2
is
energies off of him.
Also, it has quad resistance.
Oh yeah, it's resistant to grass, fire, water, and lightning. Interesting.
Does it have a natural resistance too?
No. It's weak to fairy. get like a sort of Karina type thing. You get Steven, search your deck for a supporter and a basic energy. Interesting. Gold via Seekers. Gold energy switch.
I like that Wally's with the Raichu though. If you can be Raichuing,
you can get Garbodors out on turn 1 too.
I forgot about Shaman because you can use Shaman in that deck too. So I don't know if you can use eggs or Robo Subs though.
Why do you need either of them?
Well, you need a bench.
Build a bench up.
You need a bench.
I didn't feel that vibrate, I'm sorry. But no.
But I think with everything going to such power, there's not going to be much little sniping going on, so you probably don't have to worry about your eggs. And if they're going to sit there and take a 30-30, then you're just going to go bang.
There's some other things though, like the Hydreigon gives all your, if you have a stadium, all your dragon guys have 2 less retreat, which is how the dragon Mega Rayquaza would work. So it gives your Reshiram range free retreat, so they can put fires on your bench guys. Mega Latios does 120 to any. You discard 2 energies off of it, do 120 to anybody. So you just drop a double dragon energy, discard it, and do 120 somewhere.
That's pretty interesting.
What's its total for that? 3 energy and
Water, Psychic, Colorless, but so double dragon and then anything. So you can actually slot that into something.
Wait. I would been
all the dragon guys use at least 2 colors.
Rainbow energy.
It's a double rainbow.
Right.
It's not a double colorless. It's a double rainbow.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Oh yeah.
Pretty good.
Okay.
I think it's crazy that it stays in play too.
Yeah, I know. I think
What, is there any down? It's only just dragon. There's no downfall.
Yeah, only dragon guys can use it. Nope. It's
Did
just
you win?
limited to a type.
Oh. But it's a nice kid to watch.
Yeah,
Sure.
I had 5. I need Pokemon to kill Flare.
Why
5 over prize first game. So I couldn't one-shot it. Game 2, I
But
just...
like, what hits the bench that's relevant?
It was over 2 times.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but nothing's weak to dragon.
I only had 1 Pokemon. Little Pikachu.
Actually, that stocks.
Turn 2. How'd you like my Nuzzle flip?
I'm surprised you didn't propagate and evolve to Raichu and retreat to the execute. Because you could have done that indefinitely. While you, I mean, yes, you're just feeding him prizes, but
I felt like I needed to.
okay.
My hand was so bad. I felt like I needed to paralyze him there, and just if I paralyze him, then he can't attack. Can't retreat. He's not gonna do anything. He's just gonna sit a turn. I think. I don't think anything.
Sure. There's not really much way out of that.
But if I don't get him, if he comes up and takes prize, then I'm never getting Eevees down. It's just
Right. No, I mean, having a slow start against that, like, that's already not a great matchup, you know?
Jim, would you like some orange juice? Would you
Yeah,
like
but
some
now they
orange
have.
juice?
Like talking to Raul and Grafton yesterday, they said that the fact that they play experience shares now makes it a little harder.
I wasn't sure how that was really going to affect it. You know, if they can keep it going, yeah. But normally, I mean, I don't.
No, you had a turn where, like, if you had been able to kill that Florges, he wouldn't be able to kill you. You could probably kill his Gardevoir again the next turn too.
I know, that was my problem. I was sitting there and like Carson yesterday, as little as Carson played the game, and he's driving back from Carolina yesterday, and I told him I'm playing, he's like, oh my god, awesome. And he's like, he's played like 4 fairy decks and never even come close to losing. I think I lost in testing, I lost to 1 fairy deck about a week and a half ago, where they just got a really good start. I didn't get a very good start, and I lost by 2 prizes. And the biggest decision is whether to be aggressive and come out and kill the baby Xerneas, or sit back and hope they don't Lysander up and just wait until they come out and kill whatever, and just trade 2 for 1, 2 for 1, 2 for 1.
That one?
No, they used not to play Trump, and I assume he played Trump. I didn't see hardly any of his decks, so I don't know what all he played.
Yeah, he did.
Ever with that closet.
I don't know either. Yeah. Like, you don't even have to. I don't know. I think that stuff's just nuts.
I mean, my head was thinking like 10 turns down the game, and it never got to that point, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It saved it. No problem. There's the Reshiram. Yeah, the Reshiram, once during your turn, if it's your active, you can put a fire energy onto one of your dragon Pokemon. So it's Celebi, but it puts fires down. And it only puts them on dragons.
Wait, say again. It's an ability?
Yes, it's like the Celebi Prime from the old like Mewtwo Celebi decks.
All that stuff.
But now he drops fires instead of grass.
It's fire from your hand
onto a dragon Pokemon. Any dragon Pokemon you have in play. But still, it gives you a second energy attachment is what it does.
Do you use him to attack at all? Is he an attacker or is he just...
He does 110 for 4.
Also, his attack is translated as Hell Wing.
I don't think that's going to stay.
But his retreats too, and there's something to get it for
the Hydreigon EX, if you have a stadium in play, all your dragon guys have -2 retreat.
What's a Hydreigon EX? Is that a...
Just a new guy coming out to dragon.
Is that a basic?
Yeah. No, all EXs are basics.
So yeah, so you put that
I was thinking the same thing.
And it does 80 and goes through safeguard. So there's like, you can play like a toolbox dragon deck now, I guess. If you really want to.
Yeah. Well, even with the other classics like Double Dragon, Retro, and Switch Retro, and treating it like 4 energy kind of thing.
I don't know. Sounds like with that Wally's playing Raichu with Shamans and just load that freaking bench up and
you
turn
just
one, do 150, 170, 180, whatever.
It's pretty intimidating. It's attacking you.
If you're gonna dig through cards,
it's interesting. A lot of OCX can actually kill Eevees on turn 1, going first.
Psychic 40 can be used on your first turn.
Going first?
Yes. The effect of the attack says you can use it on your first turn. There are 2 Pokemon instead that do that. I think there's like a Deoxys too.
My little Pikachu, well wait, what does it do, 50 or
It does 40.
40?
So you drop a Muscle Band and you kill Pikachu. Yeah, Deoxys. Oh, that's not nearly as good. You can use it on your first turn to draw 2 cards. That's not really good. There's a Deoxys that can attack turn 1 too. It's not nearly as good. Mega Gallade's interesting.
Is Puka gonna get up there and straighten all this mess out, or what?
I don't think I'll have any effect on this. His whole thing, from my understanding, is that we're just probably going to finally have playable theme decks. Is what my understanding of the R&D position at TPCI is.
They needed somebody to do that. They can develop the whole game. They couldn't figure out theme decks.
Well, the problem is, I mean, maybe he'll be able to give some feedback to Japan, but it's the people in Japan that ultimately design cards.
The theme decks are a US thing, and are they not?
Oh, our theme decks are very different from theirs. Like every theme deck in Japan comes with an EX. Every theme deck comes with an EX. It's crazy.
So
I mean, maybe they get to do some set design stuff, like how we sometimes get a card like a set later than Japan did, or things like that. Maybe he can make decisions like that, but I don't know, honestly. There's a Gallade here that spreads, Jim.
That gross exhibition, and then they put me on stream too.
Yeah, stream 2. Looks like just add insult to injury.
Jim, there's a card here you would really like. Mega Gallade does 110 and then does 30 to everybody on their field that has damage on it. You just like, I just know you like things that can hit the bench.
Well, I missed Sniper and Flareon. That's the one that killed me. I've been trying to fit a Sniper in for.
That's really big too.
I like that.
They printed an Absol that does the same thing as the old EX, that you move damage from somebody to somebody else when you put it down.
I had, well wait, what's the Mega Gallade? That's,
It's Psychic colorless. Not the easiest thing to power up, but you can play the Stadium to reduce it to just Psychic.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Gourgeist. We could spread, or what's the guy that puts 10 on everything? The Evolve Fortress that puts 10s on everything?
So, here's a question. With this ability, this trait thing, can you use it for candy?
I thought so, but other people have argued and told me no.
I don't see why you wouldn't, because you're still
There's
playing
the whole Delta evolution thing, which is what the new ancient trait that lets you evolve turn 1. There's a stage 2 that has it. So I've heard people argue that you can't use a rare candy to use it, but I think you can. The whole thing, there's a Togekiss that has the old Togekiss ability where you look at the top cards of your deck and put energies in play. What would you play that with though? Is there anything? No, but is there anything that really takes advantage of it?
I mean, you're already playing rare candies. Might as well look at the stage 2 options. Although then you just get whaled by Rayquaza, so never mind.
Rayquaza's pretty... No, Rayquaza's weak to him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can play fairy stuff and kill Rayquaza. Oh no, he's
The
weak
one
to
Rayquaza
lightning.
is, yeah,
Never mind. Oh, this is stupid.
Are you gonna go to Georgia?
When is it?
End of May. Maybe 20th, somewhere in there. I don't
Probably
know.
not, because my anniversary is that weekend. So I think we're going to Disney and staying at a resort.
Got plans for nationals?
Not right now. I don't think I have enough play points for nationals. Hard. Maybe I'll win a contest and be a commentator.
Anybody else done?
Omar finished.
Who you win?
I have no idea. I've been here talking to you. I assume so because he's still sitting there. Did Omar win? Omar. Did you win? Okay.
Who did he play against?
William Mega Groudon.
Oh, eggs against.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Natu has the Lugia ability too.
That's funny.
That's like randomly useful. Because 10 has the number of energy attached to your opponent's active. That'd be ridiculous. Things like Groudon. I would love to play an Articuno. At one point in my life. They're all terrible.
So what's gonna win today?
This is.
I like Gavin's deck if he can beat Mike. I think he'll win. But the matchup he's in right now is tough for him.
The matchup he's in right now is just stupid.
With Gavin and Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like Gavin's deck against everything else that's still in.
It's stupid. I really exist. Really annoying against her.
Now-
Whatever stick energies.
Is Sebastian playing Omar next?
If I'd won, I would have played the winner of Brandon and the 4-5. Brandon and.
What's Brandon playing? Bats?
Both playing Toad Bats.
Okay.
Hey, babe. Got.
Yeah, I still think I like Gavin's
his
deck.
first game.
How many energies do you guys
Lost
play?
turn 2.
Bowling
Game 2
on?
got done.
8? 9? 7?
Yeah, it was a
Really?
favorable matchup, and it was bad.
Yes.
Who do we have in the finals?
We were playing 6, but
That's what they want to know, by the way. So let me know.
You don't know?
People want to know who we have for seniors finals. Nobody's told me anything.
we were thinking about playing the Shedinja. We're gonna run that.
First game I got set up, he's got a big Pokemon, I need to start a lot of Pokemon, and I had the cards to
Just like switch to Robo subs.
Well, no. Well, but because you do 50 for each damage on it, and I have 30 for fucking Diggle. Okay, we're just gonna play you, and then we're just gonna play Dimension Valley.
Thomas Seward, Tony Santos.
Can I use last names?
What?
Can I use last names? Don't I have to put Thomas S?
I'll be hitting the road here in a minute.
We put the last names up for the junior thing.
Okay.
It's okay.
No, it's too hard to actually watch this.
It's kind of like the way.
We're just gonna play that with Archie's Blastoise Trojan City.
Now you have that, so you don't need.
All right, well, I'm gonna go watch your stream at home and watch the Masters. So I got a good day of watching.
Good Masters this year too.
I don't get to watch the top 4 match. Oh, well, I'll be driving during that anyway. See you later.
We're doing seniors finals instead.
Yeah, I heard you're doing seniors and go see if anybody can catch Jordan
I'm
Spieth
sick of
and,
streaming your freaking deck, by the way. I've had Flareon on stream all day, and it pisses me off. Because I'm sick of talking about it.
You had Flareon.
So many things to say.
I had a Flareon for juniors finals. I had 3 Flareons during Swiss yesterday.
Did you really?
Well, I streamed Raoul twice.
Do you have any idea how many Flareon decks there were in the field? Do you have any idea?
I could look through the list for you.
Fair amount, I would say.
I have a Flareon deck in seniors finals.
It'd be interesting to go through and see how many. I mean, no one ever does that. Why didn't the organizers ever go through and just categorize them and just say there were 8 eggs? Because that really tells what the metagame is. I mean, it really doesn't. To see what the top 8 is doesn't really reflect.
Right.
I mean, no doubt. It just takes someone 20 or 30 minutes to go through and go.
Don't leave yet.
You don't get to leave yet. What is this? Jim, what are you doing? What is this?
To go through and figure out the different decks.
That's what's happening.
Buscando el papel de... That should work.
Seniors top 2, report to the stream table. Seniors top 2, report to the stream table.
Good morning. If
morning.
you are playing on the BGC Premier Challenge, please check the bearings right there with Empoleon. BGC video game. Video game.
Okay, you're good.
I have no idea.
Marty. Who is who? Tommy? Okay. Tony. Okay.
Hello. Good morning, DGC players. We're going to start our rounds in a few minutes. First things first, for juniors and seniors, we're going to play 3 rounds. No tough cut. For masters, we're going to play 5 rounds. No 6. Then we're going to have a top 8. Top 8. Okay? What you need to know, whenever you get to battle with your opponent, the settings should be double battle, flat rules, handicap up. Remember? Double battles, flat rules, handicap up. If you get a request for battling, it should say double battle, bam, bam, bam. That's how, if you're getting a request, that's how it should look to you. If you're making the request, that's how you should enter the request in the battle. Okay? It's a single game. The Swiss round is a single game. Top cut is going to be 2 out of 3. Any questions?
God, there's a league challenge. I might play the league challenge. You do you, Jim.
It doesn't look like you're going to be good at it.
That's true. Get some points. I don't think the 15 points are going to help you much.
So, just because I got this question asked.
So he's here?
Flat rules, what flat rules mean is you have your Pokemon above level 50, it will go to level 50. If it's below level 50, they'll stay on the level that you have it. Okay? The other thing that I want you guys to be aware, you can make notes, but you should always start your round with a clear paper. I don't want you guys to write anything or if you don't have anything on that paper, so it's sit it down in front of you. You can write it down. Okay?
Tell them
Any
that
more
Master Top
questions?
8 is still going, so we might still get
No?
top 4.
So, is everybody ready?
All right, we're back, and we are about to start finals of seniors here at Florida State's. Just so you all know, we actually are not even finished top 8 in Masters yet, so there's still a chance that we might get to stream a top 4 game if this ends relatively quickly. We'll have to wait and see. But we're off, and Tony is going first. He's got another Flareon game on stream today. As Thomas is playing Yveltal Leafeon. You can see the Acrobike, not a particularly strong start. It's like a bunch of dead Pokemon. And just a pass with the DC attached to the Ditto.
Okay, guys. You may begin. Good luck.
As you see the Ultra Ball. Straight for the Toad, and he is only running 1 Toad in this deck. He's going to go straight for it, play down the DC, just get that going right off the bat. He's thinking he's going to try to shut him out of items before he can get anything going. And he did play an N, so that will get Tony out of the total dead draw. That's nice for him.
Interesting that we've seen just 3 Flareon decks. Or you said, who played the end? Yeah, Thomas played the end. We've seen
Thomas played
3
the end.
Flareon games in a row where it seems like they've just had things just really not start out going their way.
And again, he acrobiked, didn't really draw a whole lot attached to the active pass, and then Ultra Ball for the Seismitoad, choosing to end after seeing no supporter rather than getting a different supporter. Okay, and we apologize having repeated difficulties with the stream, but it looks like we're online. And we'll see the Grassland EV Energy Evolution. See which Leafeon he goes for. Actually, not sure. I believe he does only play the Plasma Leafeon, so he'll go ahead and grab that.
The Fusion Pro Glide, rebuilt with FlexBall technology. It's the right amount of technology to get virtually every hair. Marvel's Avengers: Age of Ultron in theaters May 1st.
And it appears he did attach the Bengal and then pass.
You can see that Tony's playing a list that's very similar to Orion's list from Florida Regionals, complete with the Archie, the 1/1 Swirlix line, along with the, yes, the Archie and the Swirlix line. Which
Actually, almost identical.
We've seen a lot of people, actually it is almost identical. We've seen a
one
lot of
card
people
off.
that have favored either going one way or the other, although it's primarily been looking at using the Empoleon over the Slurpup. But Thomas is content so far to just leave this Keldeo active. It's not really in a whole lot of danger. He discards the Silver Bengal, which removes even more threat from it. And he passes on that Poison Ditto.
Ditto hanging in there.
Correct the poison damage due to the Verbank.
Once again.
And he really doesn't have
Even
much
at the
going
end,
on.
he
Maybe
didn't
just
draw a whole lot.
retreats and use an Energy Crush from that Leafeon.
Go ahead and get the Leafeon swinging.
Uses a water because he wants to keep the DC on that Ditto. It's odd that he would do that and then bench his third EV.
Very
as
odd.
opposed to just transforming. Maybe he wants to transform into a Swirlix at some point so he can evolve into Slurpuff and still be able to retreat it.
He has another Ditto in his hand. And I believe...
He has the Ditto Slurpuff Archie.
Archie, yeah. Skyla.
Skyla for a VS Seeker, that's
interesting.
That's one way to put it. We don't see Skyla a whole lot anymore. Since VS Seeker came out, people have been basically subbing Skylas out for them, since oftentimes using a Skyla for a supporter is such a slow play. Using a Skyla for a VS Seeker seems like an even slower play.
Not sure why you would burn that extra card there. So I suppose at this point he's gonna let Keldeo just get knocked out. Opted not to play a laser there.
Maybe he thinks he doesn't need it. We see a town map. See that the computer search is prized and the Swirlix. takes the knockout, takes that computer search and a battle compressor, tries to give himself some options for next turn.
He may be hoping to pull off an Archie next turn as well if he can dodge the item lock.
Well, it's very easy to dodge an item lock when you have a Leafeon sitting active.
This is true.
Most people won't opt to let their Toad die.
Particularly not with all that energy on the board, though.
Exactly.
Do the Professor's Letters for a couple energies.
That's the one good thing about cards like Skylo, that they allow you to run one-ofs of cards like Professor's Letter, which otherwise would just would not be as good.
That's right.
You have a Professor's Letter, you just hope to draw into it. At that point, you might as well just have it be an energy.
Because that second energy isn't going to do you a whole lot of good.
You see a Leafeon die from an Evil Ball.
The other reason is with the prevalence of Seismitoad that we've seen lately, a lot of those one-of trainers are essentially useless a lot of the time.
True.
Which means Skyla is not necessarily a better play over any of your other options. Pretty standard there.
Yeah, it's a fairly easy battle compressor to make.
First one's usually pretty easy, it seems.
Tony moves his Pokemon into his discard pile, or into a position so that they will be more easily counted later. To give you an update on the Masters top 8, we still have Gavin and Mike's game going, which is at a 1-1 at the moment. We know that Omar Izaguirre had finished his match and won. He will be playing the winner of that game. And I'm unsure of who won the game between David Lopez and Brandon Jackson. But they were playing a mirror match, so whoever won that game is going to be playing Sebastian Inks with a Toad Bat deck.
So he did opt for the Archie play here. Using his eggs, he computer searched. With the computer search, he grabbed a Leafeon to evolve the back Eevee. And now he'll have an Empoleon down, so...
And he knows how important that Leafeon is in this matchup with that Toad sitting on the bench.
It's not only directly countering the Yveltal base and its requirement for energy,
it's a
but it's
Flareon
also
off that
scaring
Archie
him from even coming up.
Unfortunately, there's not much he's going to be able to do with that Ditto unless he draws into his 4th Eevee here. There's another Leafeon.
Which he's forced to discard
goes
there.
Into the discard pile. Thomas takes a minute to read Acrobike. See a diving draw, assuming he used Propagation for that. There's a Busybody. Will heal
Discard.
10 damage off the Ditto, gets the Audino in the discard pile.
And Ultra Ball's coming down.
And there's that 4th Eevee. So we'll see it transform into an Eevee here, which will then
Obviously
immediately
has the
evolve into a Flareon. It's one of the advantages of Ditto. It's the primary reason to run Ditto in these decks. Not only does it give you an extra Pokemon, it allows you to immediately evolve your basics into stage 1s. See a Training Center here to bump out the Verbank too, which won't prevent his Flareon from being knocked out. Should his opponent be able to Evil Ball next turn, which would require quite a few resources. He would need to have an Yveltal, a Darkrai, an Energy Switch, and another Energy. But it's definitely possible.
Training Center is a really nice inclusion in Flareon. It's a card that's gone in and out of a lot of lists. It might be your 60th card in a lot of lists.
Exactly, that's the problem, is that they seem to often only run one, which, in this metagame at least, running one stadium is... I can see how it's easily cuttable. If you only run one and your opponent runs... Exactly, your opponents often will run 2, if not 3 or 4 stadiums. We're seeing stadiums definitely spike up in prevalence in how many people are playing in their decks, and that's probably only going to increase as the game goes forward. So I think that moving forward, if people still opt to play these Flareon decks, they will likely remove Training Center from their list or have to increase the count. And there's an energy. Oh, an Evil Ball. He assumed that he would knock out the Leafeon. He forgot to take the Training Center into account. Perhaps he's not used to playing against it.
That is one advantage.
Play a card people aren't used to, definitely. See a Water go down on the Empoleon. You can see an attack command come out here. Definitely a strong attacker against something like a Seismitoad. If you don't have access to a Leafeon. Fortunately for Thomas, with that damage on, if he does have a Verbank anytime in the next couple of turns, he can actually take a 2-prize turn potentially by just bumping out the stadium to take a free prize.
Which is the disadvantage of running the Training Center. Aside from it getting bumped, now it can get bumped where he's in a position to get knocked out of the active on his opponent's turn.
Maybe Tony will be able to drop an Audino, but I believe he might already have 2 in his discard pile. I know he has at least 1.
And he's going to retreat it. We will see the attack command come out.
I'm not sure if I agree with this.
The Leafeon will more than likely get knocked out
anyway. Yeah, it's more than
anyway.
likely going to be knocked out anyway. And he'll take that second Audino, I believe. Yeah. Knowing now that he could potentially just retreat his Empoleon and then busybody the Leafeon to prevent it from being knocked out. And we see a finish to Gavin and Mike's game. I believe Mike has actually won. So we will see him playing against Omar in top 4.
And based on his
We see a
manners,
VS
I'm
Seeker
pretty
for
sure
a
he won.
Lysander. Pulls the Leafeon back up. I guess he would rather do that than play the Juniper to try to draw the stadium. But
Interesting
knowing that
play.
he can use in
He will get an Oblivion Wing off
Oblivion
of
Wing,
it
that's
for
what it's
free.
called.
That's a really
to
nice
get another
move.
energy on his field, but he doesn't have a Pokemon to attach it to, and for some reason he has not gotten the energy out of his discard pile.
It's a good idea with the play. Was not able to take full advantage of it, unfortunately.
Is it May?
And there we go.
And so he will attach the energy to his Seismitoad. See the Lysander in Tony's hand. He does also a VS Seeker and Ultra Ball, so he has a number of plays he can make here. Diving draw with his Execute.
He should have enough Pokemon in his discard pile.
In his discard pile.
And we know that he
by my
took that
count.
Audino, so he can just busybody to heal.
That will put him at 11, and that will be the knockout.
Right. And there's
However, he still has not played a supporter. So
Plenty of
he does
options in
have
this hand.
quite a lot of options right now.
And we
with
see that
Busybody.
busybody. Gives him enough Pokemon in his discard pile. More than likely, we'll get another Flareon off that Ultra Ball before his opponent's able to use Quaking Punch. Uses his propagation prior to that. And we see he still has 3 Flareons in his deck. 3 Flareons, there's a trump card,
His trump card's in
3
the discard.
battle compressors. Wow.
So not only is he in a great position, he also has recovery if he does get trump carded.
I'm likely to see that Sycamore come down here after the DCE. And there it is.
And this game will almost definitely be over in the next couple turns.
Well, yes and no. If his opponent's able to trump card, he doesn't have an Eevee to get a Leafeon out, and he actually can't use those battle compressors if he gets Quaking
He
Punch.
did have to discard the other Leafeon earlier, which will hurt him here.
But I don't believe that Thomas had a trump card in his hand. So it's going to put him in a bit of a tough position.
as it is with the training center down. We haven't seen it bumped yet, so that means that his Empoleon will be able to absorb quite a bit of damage.
3 more DCEs in that hand for Thomas. Definitely not cards that he's going to be using right now. There's a Shauna.
Interesting.
So it stops him from having to Juniper away those double colorless energies, but really at this point, is he going to be able to do anything?
He must assume to have any hope of a comeback, he has to save the energies.
Well, it's not just saving the energy. The energies are almost irrelevant. His opponent only has 1 prize left. And he has 2 powered Flareons and an Empoleon. Granted, the Empoleon's only doing 40 damage right now, but... And it's unlikely that it will be doing more anytime soon. And there's an N for his next turn as well.
Well, he did get the N off of the Shauna, which...
He needs to be able to trump card too, though. He tries again.
He's
He
going
wants to
for
put
the
that
sleep.
Flareon to sleep. Buy himself a turn, he fails.
Can't do it.
And we'll see a Quaking Punch, and he'll just hope that Tony cannot knock him out. But unfortunately, it is. I mean, there's nothing that Thomas can do here.
There's almost no way he can miss it.
I don't see a Max Potion in his list, which would be the only way that he would be able to do anything after this turn.
He does currently have 11.
So Vengeance currently doing 130 damage.
He can still Diving Draw to get rid of another one.
Right, because he can Diving Draw to get rid of the Empoleon. You
Or if he
cannot
has a
play that battle. Cannot play that Battle Compressor. Sorry, stream.
It did look like he had a Sycamore in his hand. Yes, he...
After having not been Quaking Punched all game, perhaps Tony forgot what Quaking Punch does. I mean, he still has plenty of ways to discard. He has that Sycamore, but I believe his deck's rather low at this point.
Pokemon in his hand.
And he could also just Diving Draw one of them away, but instead
and he's
he
just
opts
gonna
to
opt
just
do nothing and just attack.
Attack for 130. And like I said, since Thomas doesn't have any way to move this Seismitoad, I don't think there's really anything he can do here. That Flareon goes up to 90 damage.
He'll need to have another Seismitoad.
So if he
ready
puts
to
another
attack.
Pokemon down, he could potentially retreat into it and just hope that somehow it doesn't get knocked out next turn, but we know that Tony has 3 Pokemon in his hand that he could just Juniper away.
Not a whole lot of ways for Thomas to come back in this game. He does only play 1 copy of the Seismitoad.
Right. Right, so he would need to knock out his Seismitoad, somehow have his opponent not win the game, and then trump card to be able to use it again. Not a likely scenario.
Really, the only thing he could do would play down a baby of Yveltal, bump the stadium, swing for Oblivion Wing, but he'll get knocked out right back.
Exactly. No, there's absolutely
at this point, you have to
nothing
think
can
about
do
just
here.
picking up your cards.
But we see
He'll play it out.
And we bump out the training center.
That is true, because if he breaks the trainer lock, he will just Lysander and kill the Toad.
Well, the Lysander doesn't. He can knock out anything he puts active. It doesn't matter. He doesn't need a Lysander. He can Juniper away the Pokemon in his hand. Doesn't matter if he has no deck if he's taking his last prizes, especially with that
And
Flareon
he
getting
will
knocked out. That's
just
13
promote,
Pokemon in
I
his
assume,
discard.
and do the attack.
No, that's 14 now because there was a Ditto under that as well.
See if he goes.
I don't understand why he would
Should
draw a
just
card
take the
before you
obvious
promote a
knockout.
Pokemon. But yeah, now there are more than enough Pokemon in his discard pile. There's 10.
And
14.
that's 14, so he will
And a Vengeance for 160
do
will
more
knock
than
out that
enough.
Yveltal and give Tony the game.
So that went about as well for Tony as it possibly could have.
Well, looking at Thomas's list, it looks like he anticipated playing against Toad decks most of the day.
Hence the
With
inclusion
his-
of Leafeon, obviously.
Yeah, his 2/2 Leafeon line. He has a smaller Seismitoad line, or smaller Seismitoad contingent as a result.
Which is truly going to hurt him in
That's
this
really going to hurt
particular
him in this
matchup.
matchup. Seismitoad, while being weak to Leafeon, is definitely still a very good card against Flareon. in general. Being able to cut off their battle compressors on a turn where you trump card is very good.
The problem with only running one is that once you do face down that Leafeon, you have to trump card in order to play another Seismitoad. So your best out is a one of that isn't reliable to retrieve immediately.
Exactly. But we'll see. Yveltal can produce some big swings if it just gets Evil Balls going early. It's definitely a strong card. Has been since it was released.
We saw him go straight for that Seismitoad with the first Ultra Ball of the game in the last game and didn't attack with it till almost the end.
Well, unfortunately, he didn't have a muscle band to put on it, and not having a muscle band on Seismitoad makes it a significantly weaker card. 30 damage is not a lot to put out, especially with that training center that stayed in play for a lot longer than it should have.
I'm shocked that it stayed in play 3 or 4 turns almost.
Both players seemed hesitant to play Junipers with some resources in their hand at different points in the game. I'm surprised that there were a couple of turns where Thomas could have played a Juniper to try to hit a Verbank that would have allowed him to make some different plays.
And realistically, I think playing for that training center bump knockout was the correct play. It probably might not have changed the outcome. It would have given him a lot more of a chance to make a comeback.
Right. Instead of having to waste a Lysander on it. Definitely.
And at that point later in the game, he would have been able to end with him only having an EV down, and that would have put him in a much better spot. So we'll see how this one plays out if it
and we see
plays
that
out a little
Tony
differently.
opens with an EV. And I believe
assume that
an
Thomas
EV
will go
for Thomas
first
as well. Unfortunately for Thomas, his EV is much weaker in this game.
Like
Considering for it to do
out.
anything, his opponent has to have multiple energies on the field. But unless an energy comes out to let this EV energy evolve, it could just die this turn unless, well, he does have the option to Busybody. So there are a couple of outs here for Tony. Can either see a Busybody, we could see the energy evolution into a Leafeon. Just depends on what he draws off of his end. His hand wasn't particularly bad before, but you know, we've seen this when you're running this many Pokemon like these Flareon decks do, there is a chance you could just draw an end of 6 Pokemon.
That's absolutely as we saw with Jim in the last round. You draw a hand of 5 Pokemon and 2 other unplayable cards. Generally not too much you can do to get out of it.
But we see a Sycamore immediately, so he will definitely have a strong hand this turn. Or a strong turn, rather. Saw an Ultra Ball as well, I believe.
We'll see,
see this EV stays asleep. Oh, he has a Computer Surge. Well, this is a very strong hand, actually.
We'll see where he goes with this, and he gets
and
another EV.
Immediately attaches the double colorless.
So we won't see an energy evolution out of there.
Computer Search.
Curious to see what he'll grab with this. He does have the Archie play if he wants it.
And his remaining 2 cards are an Ultra Ball and a Sycamore. In this situation, I don't know if I agree with that Battle Compressor. I'm not sure
I don't think that's
what
the
you
right
could
call.
really like. I think your options in this situation are to either grab an energy to energy evolve, or to grab
And as he just looked at the Archie, I think he's
an execute.
realizing
Well, actually, I think you should grab an execute that you can Ultra Ball
he can
away.
still Ultra Ball.
You Ultra Ball away the execute and the
Then
Sycamore.
he'll be able to grab his
and
Jirachi.
you get your Jirachi for your Archie, exactly. But instead he opts to go with this Battle Compressor play. I guess he just wants to play the Sycamore instead. Well, he actually can Ultra Ball as well here. He can still make the Archie play.
So kind of a roundabout way of doing it, but it'll have the same effect. Does, I suppose, have the added bonus of getting those 2 eggs in the discard right off the bat.
True, I think Tony just outplayed us.
Fair enough.
Good for him.
And that's why they're in finals. We're not. Okay.
A very strong first turn coming out for Tony. Unfortunately, his
You're
EV
sitting
is going to be knocked out unless he draws an Audino
Unless
off
he
of
draws
these 7
into the
cards.
Audino. Or an Ultra Ball, which is very possible.
See the
We'll see what he
Flareon.
hits.
There's the
He will hit
Audino.
the Audino.
Wow.
And when you're sitting across from this start against Flareon, you cannot be feeling too good
Especially when you
about
open
yourself.
with what I would consider probably your second worst starter. Obviously, Jirachi is the weakest one there.
Obviously, he's not going to waste time doing anything with the Eevee.
And he propagates and diving draws. Oh, sorry. Acrobike? Did I miss an Acrobike?
It looks like he
Must
I
have been
didn't see it.
Acrobike because he discarded the Lysander.
No reason to do that otherwise. He'll get another compressor off. Oh, man.
Unless he gets trump carded this turn, it's a very, very strong start for him.
I would say Thomas is in a great position to do that. That is just an explosive start for Flareon. And the
And the
time
time
out
nap.
just to top it off.
And we see he prizes an Audino again, so drawing that Audino is actually very lucky.
Your rosters are up. Please go check your rosters. And carry them here in a second.
And a pass.
He does have one Eevee prized, which
Thomas just assumes that Eevee's going to wake up, but it doesn't.
the confidence there.
He said that his opponent had such a strong turn already, why would it not wake up? And we'll see an Energy Crush to actually knock this Eevee out more than likely. It's about the best you can hope your Leafeon's going to do this game, and then it's going to get fried in
Not a whole lot of
return.
reason not to do it.
And we see a Stellar Guidance for the trump card. Very, very strong play here.
Alright, so we'll see that happen. We'll get all those Pokemon out of the discard, but doesn't necessarily negate that explosive turn that he just had.
No, he still has the Flareon to follow up. I actually think that I would have liked to see Tony use one of his propagations
In anticipation of the trump card.
as an
I
yes,
agree
a
with
chance
that.
to use the trump card, just because he doesn't. I mean, I can see an argument for why you wouldn't want to, because he does have a Sycamore in his hand, I believe. So there
But
would
there's
be
no real disadvantage in my mind because otherwise you can still diving draw.
right. There's just the potential that you would need to put another Pokemon in there.
Right.
So you can argue it both ways, but I think that it probably would have been a better play, especially hindsight's 2020 if you know your opponent's going to trump card you.
Yeah.
But there's now one Pokemon in his discard pile for him.
And most
Votes an
people
Eevee.
would tend to go straight for the trump card after a turn like
Oh,
that.
definitely. Definitely. You cannot argue with that. I don't know if I agree with the float stone
So
there. I
put the
probably would have put it
float
on
on
the
there.
Empoleon.
I think that would definitely be the better play.
Maybe he just wants to silver bangle that Empoleon at some point. But in which case, probably would put it on the Jirachi, I guess.
Floatstoning the Empoleon gives you the option to attack and then retreat
Because
if it
more than
doesn't get
likely,
one
this
shot.
Flareon's going to be knocked out in response.
I'd agree with
Yveltal is
that.
very good at knocking out Flareons unless they have play. But we do see a Ditto come down, so it will give Tony an option to get a Flareon out, assuming that his current active Flareon is knocked out in response to this Vengeance.
There we go.
Since he does now have a third Pokemon in his discard pile, he will be able to do it. There is that Silver Bangle. Very important card.
Silver Bangle, Lysander, and a Sycamore. It's a pretty strong hand at this point.
And there's a Vengeance for 100.
Just enough.
Knocks out the Leafeon. Now what prize do you take? You probably take a Battle Compressor?
He's gonna opt for the
There
compressor.
he goes.
Yep.
Having two Acrobikes prize too, that's
That's
even
a
more
little
amazing that
bit
he had such a
obnoxious.
strong turn on that first turn.
Absolutely.
See that second dart come down, and a Seismitoad. So I'm a little surprised that he would attach that dart to that Yveltal when he could potentially go for a double colorless Muscle Band and knock out the Flareon that way. Though maybe he just thinks his odds of doing that are slim, and he'd rather take the secure knockout on the Flareon.
And at this point, I can't argue too much with that move.
Well, there was that Muscle Band. It really wanted to come out.
Assuming he does score this knockout, he's in a much better spot. still a lot of things that
The
would.
problem is against these Flareon decks, a lot of times it really doesn't depend on what you do. It depends on what they have. So
Because they can easily, if they have a very playable hand, dump
tons and tons of Pokemon
right back in
exactly.
the discard. Knowing that there are 2 Acro Bikes prized, it will be a little bit more difficult to do
Right.
that.
And he didn't draw the greatest hand off of that end. But if he hits an Ultra Ball with his Acro Bike, he could potentially get a second Empoleon into play.
That is not a play to overlook.
And now we're not having that Float Stone on that Empoleon or Jirachi is actually going to come back and hurt him. But he gets the water for the attack command. And the Acro Bike.
We'll see what happens here.
Into a second Acro Bike. And a Battle Compressor or a double colorless. So we'll see that
And
double
we'll
colorless hit the
discard
discard
double
pile.
colorless.
Based on Tony's style of play previously, I think he assumes that double colorless are considered Pokemon.
I would say so.
They would just hit that pile where his other Pokemon reside.
Right to the side.
There's a propagation.
Gets the eggs back in the discard.
And here, I think I would like to see him use. Oh, he recognizes his mistake, moves the double colorless. I think I would like to see him use that Sycamore before he uses his diving draw.
I agree.
Because unless he draws into something like double Ultra Ball, he's going to be using the Sycamore this turn.
Yes. And he'll diving
he
draw
just
the
uses the
Leafeon
diving
first.
draw. Oh, the computer search. Wow.
That's a nice draw.
Now he can computer search.
And a VS Seeker play.
Well, he already had one in his hand, I believe.
He already
But
discarded one this turn, so if he does...
He's going to have 3 VS Seekers in that discard pile.
If he does choose to Sycamore...
He goes to find an Eevee. Knows that he's going to
Looking
need
through
that
his
this
deck.
turn. But he leaves himself in a position where he's still... I guess he gives himself more outs to the Flareon here, but he could have potentially done that Archie play still. And now he has 3 VS Seekers in his
I
discard
definitely
pile.
think that he had the Archie play, and as you said, had he attached the Floatstone to the Empoleon, he does the second Archie play, sends up the Empoleon.
And he would still have
and
7 cards off of it.
Absolutely.
It's the same net result. The only problem is that at that point he loses an Ultra Ball out of it. So he has a slightly lower chance of getting a way to get the Flareon. But we see that Ultra Ball anyway.
Well, and despite what we've thought been some questionable plays, he has managed to draw into just about everything that he's been digging for.
And here we see some propagations so that he'll be able to use, or maybe perhaps he's just counting the number of Pokemon to know if he needs to propagate before he plays the Ultra Ball, and there's 4 or 5. He has 9 currently.
So we're looking
Just
at
not enough. He's currently doing 140 if he manages to Vengeance, unless he discards more Pokemon.
this is another part of the reason why you would have wanted a Sycamore before using your diving draw.
Right.
Had he drawn enough Pokemon, that would have been an extra in the discard. He could have Ultra Balled 2, diving drew 1, and he would have been at the total, in addition to getting the Flareon.
So we see the Ultra Ball discards 2 more Pokemon. So he's still 10 short, though. If I counted correctly.
I believe he will fall 10 short.
Where he counts the number of Pokemon he has. Fortunately, he will have the Empoleon attack command as a follow-up, and trading non-EXs for EXs always works out in your favor.
Always. I'm not sure that he...
And we see that he's just short of this knockout.
And now we'll see a
And here we
very
look at it again.
expensive field.
If he had done that Archie play, I believe he would have been able to get enough Pokemon in his discard pile. It
I
depends on
agree.
the order of the cards that he drew, but
He would have had an
It
extra
seemed-
2 cards of hitting that extra Pokemon. And if I'm not mistaken, he would have Sycamored 2 away anyway.
no, he didn't Sycamore away any. And if he plays Archie, he can't play Sycamore. So, but
True.
no, I mean he would have been able to Ultra Ball 2 away to perhaps take a Mr. Mime and then take the shot with the diving draw. I mean, it's a risk, but you're losing this Eevee either way. He opts to take the safe play instead.
Although had he Archied, he would have had 1 fewer in the discard.
Oh, true, true. Never mind. I stand corrected. But we see that Flareon get knocked out. Thomas takes another prize from what seemed like a very, very strong start coming out of Tony.
That really turned around quickly.
And he opts to retreat into the Seismitoad and use Quaking Punch, severely limiting what his opponent can do.
Fairly weak attack command here.
For some reason, Tony opts not to use Diving Draw this turn.
It's very possible that he was
and
so
we see an
thrown off by
exploding
this move
discard
that he
pile.
didn't think to do it.
And there's the trump card.
And that is just all sorts of bad news. Boy,
And if you're in Tony's position, you just have to feel like there's not a whole lot you can do at this point unless you get some fairly good draws off of this. But still, I have to question why he didn't Diving Draw last turn.
it's possible that he was so surprised by that move that he just got frustrated and forgot to do it. This, of course, is one of the big advantages of playing the Empoleon, is when you get item locked, you still have outs to discard both Pokemon and useless trainers.
Exactly. And we see a laser. The Empoleon stays awake.
Stay awake.
Really wants to hit that training center this turn. Having the 170 HP Empoleon that isn't taking the 30 damage from poison would be a big advantage for him. And we just see the Quaking Punch. And probably we'll see a Diving Draw. There's a Diving Draw.
There's the Diving Draw.
Discards a Pokemon draws. Two unplayable
altogether
cards.
useless cards there. Archie vs Seeker is not
And
going
I
to
think
help.
we're likely to just see a scoop here.
I would scoop right at this moment.
But instead he attack commands.
So he'll put some damage
He
down.
wants to go down swinging.
Not sure why he didn't at least attach to the Jirachi.
We see that Empoleon get knocked out.
And at this point, I just don't see what he's looking for.
And another unplayable card. And a pass back, and here we're likely to see...
And considering he
Yeah,
attached
Thomas
now,
didn't play a supporter
that's
last
going
turn.
to give him the Evil Ball knockout. Assuming he attaches.
So he would need a Muscle Band too.
Yes. That's a Muscle Band on that Toad, isn't it?
Right. But he can go find a laser here.
And that should essentially
Maybe,
end
does he
this
play
game.
an Energy Switch? No, he does not play an Energy Switch, so we won't see any sort of shenanigans plays. Maybe the
You will
Energy
more than
Switch
likely
DCE.
More than likely just see him go to 80.
Right. And just
And
let
he's
that
asleep.
Jirachi die. And unless Tony
assuming-
draws a Juniper here, he's really not going to have anything to do on his turn.
Assuming he doesn't draw bases, it's just going
And
to
he
drag
wakes
this game
up.
out even more.
And another dead card.
Which he can't play. I'll dive it. He does
How
not
did
have
he
an
Diving Draw
Empoleon.
with no Empoleon?
And the Ultra Ball's unplayable. So that'll end that game. Trying to find something to do. Fortunately, no legal plays there.
And we are now tied at 1-1 from what looked like would have been a very, very easy win for Tony in that second game after that first turn. But the first turn trump card coming off Thomas.
Just no way to recover from it.
Right.
That was a rapid shift in momentum there. As I said, sitting across from that start is very intimidating. Losing when you have that start has to be just demoralizing.
Definitely.
We'll see if he can come back to win another one here after that.
And just an update on Masters. Top 4 has started. After this series is finished, there's a potential that we'll be able to move one of those games over to the stream, provided they are between games. We will let you guys know if that's something we'll be able to do or not. But as it stands, we still need to finish this series. Both players taking their time setting up. And Thomas's new sleeves are very slick.
We'll see. Tony started with an Eevee. We'll see what Thomas draws into. He's hoping to avoid the Eevee start, and he did not avoid the Eevee start. That's 2 in a row, and that is unfortunate for him. And this is just classic. He does have some plays
And again,
here.
Thomas starts with that Eevee. Definitely not what he wants to see when he starts a game, especially when his opponent's able to go first instead. Probably
He's
take
going to
advantage
have to
of
get a
that knockout.
Jirachi here.
I don't think you really mind that though.
No, I would say not.
You're gonna more than likely take a Sycamore off of it.
I hadn't seen the Ultra Ball in his original hand. If he hadn't had that, he would have been absolutely dead drawing. But he will more than likely get the Sycamore, and he does.
Yep.
It's always nice to get that Bengal on an Eevee first turn.
And
See,
there's the
he
flow stone. Thank
does
you.
opt to attach it.
And a Sycamore. Tony hoping to draw some more Pokemon here. Preferably a Ditto, maybe an Eevee. Or the other way around, rather. He's got an Acrobike. Saw an N and a Leafeon in his hand, too. I'd like to see him discard that item. Yeah, keep the Audino in case you get lasered.
And the fact that he does play 2 Audino is very strong in this particular matchup.
True.
Also, the use of Hip Bump can
Unfortunately,
make
his
a lot
hand
of
is
situations
really
good for you. Didn't draw into
We actually
much in the way.
might see him have to use Signs of Evolution next turn.
He does have an N.
True.
Obviously, with that hand, prefer to have a Sycamore, but he does not.
I'm glad that he didn't play that Training Center, though. I know a lot of people snap play stadiums when they draw them, but knowing that he only plays the one, he smartly holds on to it. It's a
It's a
heads-up
wise
play.
move. There's absolutely no reason to play it.
Exactly.
So we've got Ultra Ball right off the bat. And another Eevee start. That's unfortunate, but
He plays many
you have to
other
think it-
basics. And he opens with Eevee 2 games out of these 3. It's definitely
See
not his
if-
preferred starter.
we'll see if this game takes a similar path as far as if he draws into a Leafeon. Obviously not his preferred strategy there.
We see the DCE go on the Evoltal. And a Juniper. This card's a Dark Energy, and I can't tell what that back card is. I guess we'll never know.
I believe it was a VS Seeker.
Okay. And there's
And
the
there's
laser,
the laser
bank.
bank.
And a Tails, I
Looks
believe.
like he's awake.
This card's that second Eevee does not want it to go down. Goes and gets a baby Evoltal. Do you have to question how good a second non-EX attacker is?
It really kind of doesn't help you,
Yeah, knowing
especially
that your opponent is going to be playing, it allows your opponent to play a 6-prize game as opposed to the 7-prize game that.
there's a very good chance that Eevee's getting knocked out. I'd be shocked if it didn't.
Oh, definitely, especially with the Flareon top deck.
That certainly helps.
So we're going to see Busybody, and
Just to burn the Pokemon there.
yep. Lets him get a third Pokemon in his discard pile. Bumps out
Now
the
he will
Burbank.
bump.
So now we see 130 HP Flareon going to come down here. With a silver bangle on it. And we'll see an N come down here. Hopefully he can draw away to discard one Pokemon and kill this Eevee. Or knock out this Eevee, rather.
He should have 3 Ultra Balls in his deck and plenty of Pokemon, so...
And Battle Compressors. And
Not to
Acrobikes.
mention
He
Acrobikes.
definitely has
He has
options. He has
a ton of
many
outs.
outs.
Again, I'd be shocked if he missed this knockout. Which
He can also just draw the other Audino.
That's a very good point.
Unless it follows its past trends of being in those
And the
prizes.
discard and the prizes. That certainly does diminish the effectiveness of the baby Yveltal.
And there's a computer search. Yeah. So we will see. There's Execute. There's
And
one.
he'll get to discard the Execute.
And that Slurpuff. He does not like the Slurpuff
And
very
he has
much.
a Sycamore. That's a very good end.
And a Battle Compressor.
And-
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Likely to see him grab an Eevee here.
It also looks like he has an Archie in his hand.
I think he'll be hard pressed to play that though. He would have to, off this prize
It'd
slash
require
top
an
deck, draw
Ultra
away
Ball
to
top
discard.
deck.
Yeah. And we see those 2 penguins and their eggs go to the discard pile.
So he will at least get to discard it.
So that now puts him up to, I believe, 7 Pokemon in his discard pile. Doing Vengeance for 90. He gets that second Eevee down. And we'll see the Vengeance. Knocks out the Eevee. And
That's
puts a
all
trump
from
card.
straight
Now
up.
he needs to top deck that Ultra Ball if he wants to Archie next turn. But I think he's more than happy with the Sycamore.
Mm-hmm. And we'll see that Skylog get played again. And given that
Maybe
that
get the
Yveltal
Burbank.
is especially just sitting on his bench now, you really have to wonder if that was the best thing to grab with that Ultra Ball. And he's forced to get a letter with the Skyla.
Did he have the second Verbank in his hand? If he didn't have the Verbank already, he may be going into this play thinking that he's going to knock out the Flareon with an Evil Ball and forget about the training center again.
And that's the second time.
And there's the energy. He's counting up how much his Evil Ball is going to do. Realizes that he's short.
Hard to tell everything that's in his hand right now.
Right, the only thing we can see is that other dark energy that he got.
There's
A
appears to be some
Lysander.
sort of plasma card.
Probably that Leafeon. If it was a laser, I'm sure he would just play it here.
Immediately.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, he has a double colorless on his Yveltal.
That would explain it.
So he's doing 120 with that Evil Ball, more than enough.
And luckily he did attach that Floatstone, and he'll draw the Bengal. That's nice.
And the immediate Sycamore discards his 2 other supporters. Lets him get 7 cards. See that town map's likely to come down here. Puts a double colorless on the Eevee. Plays the town map.
And he's got 2 compressors. That's helpful because he did draw a Flareon.
So we see... Hey, that Audino's in his prizes for the 3rd game
What
in
do
a
you
row.
know? The exact same. No, there was an Eevee there last time.
And he gives up that Swirlix prize, knowing that he's just probably going to Sycamore again next turn.
Curious as to how many Pokemon are in his discard right now.
Quite a few. Quite a few. He had 7 and then that Flareon got knocked out, so he's up to 9 now. And he's going to be up to, ooh.
And the Lysander. That's a pretty big play.
That Eevee knockout, especially since that's his 2nd Silver Bangle, puts him in a bit of a, probably, not really sure what he's going to be able to do here, especially since he's going to have to Sycamore away that 3rd DCE.
I see a compressor here.
He can't afford to discard that Leafeon in case that Toad comes down. So we see the Mr. Mime. He doesn't really want to discard the Ditto because he wants to draw it.
He needs
Puts him in a
something
tough
even to hold
position.
place. And
Plays the
see
2nd compressor.
another compressor.
Perhaps he's only discarding 1 card with that first one. You do only have to discard 1.
That is true. And he will end up discarding it.
Okay.
So 2 compressors for 2 discards. Not sure
I'm not sure what the
Why
point of
make
that was.
that play?
Knowing that you're going to Sycamore anyway, but. And there is the Sycamore.
If anything, at that point, you'd rather hope to draw into an Ultra Ball another
He's in
Pokemon.
a really tough position here. He's going to actually have to trump card himself at some point because his 4th double colorless is in his prizes.
He's going to have to essentially just throw up Pokemon to take hits at this point. Unless he can pull off a surprise Archie play.
Acrobike?
Bike into.
See, I'm not sure if I agree with that Acrobike. I would have taken the other one.
Yeah, the other one
Definitely
is probably
better.
the play. I think the sleeve was a little cleaner.
He opts to discard an energy here. It's interesting. He keeps the Leafeon instead.
He does have 2 other energies in his hand, so.
Still. So we see 1.
Could not count that at all.
I was trying to count how many EVs were in there. I believe the answer is 2. And we see the Ultra Ball. Discard those 2 eggs that he likely got off the propagation. Yes, it's 2 because there are still 2 in his deck there.
2 with an EV down.
But if his opponent has another Lysander, I don't believe there's anything he can really do.
He has to at least go for the play, so we'll see. He'll touch a grass.
And probably retreat into that Swirlix again.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this time Yveltal will take the candy. You see another double colorless go down. And a trump.
And he's going to drop the trump card. All right.
I'm actually not sure if that's good or bad for Tony.
It
lets him get back
good and bad.
It lets him get back those 3 double colorless energies that he had
Recovers
lost.
a lot of cards that he needs. Obviously, it makes
Yeah, he
Flareon.
loses the Pokemon, which is a pretty big deal. Actually, did he have another supporter in his hand? I think he was
He had
dependent
a
on.
VS Seeker.
Yeah, but now he doesn't have anything
So
in his
he
discard.
opted not to use the VS Seeker in fear of the trump card play, and that's going to come back to bite him.
Wow. If he had been anticipating a trump card, you would have probably seen him use the VS Seeker to get the Sycamore for his next turn.
Now he's going to, unless he has a compressor, he's going to have no out.
But again, he has several outs here. He could just straight up draw the compressor. He could draw a Sycamore. He could draw a second Jirachi. He could draw an Ultra Ball into the Jirachi. He has plenty of things he can draw here. But it's
That is
still
the best
a
thing about
tough
playing
position to
Flareon.
be in. And that is not it. You see that second energy going on Eevee. And the Toad. And a Y-Cyclone knocks out that Jirachi, puts him down to 1 prize, and here comes a Flareon. And we see the Muscle Band in Thomas's hand. Unless he has an end, there's nothing he can really do.
He's just going to end it.
And he extends his hand.
And that's
And
your match.
congratulations to Thomas on winning our senior division. So I will go check on the whereabouts of getting a top 4 Masters game over here. In the meantime, sit tight. Congratulations to Thomas on winning our senior division. So I will go check on the whereabouts of getting a top 4 Masters game over here. In the meantime, sit tight.